For the Work Together 3-2 in APLIA, we are going to be journalizing the buying of insurance, buying something on account, so buying now and paying later, and then paying on that account. So here is the PowerPoint for 3-2 section. So going through these same transactions that we've been using throughout the course so far. August 4th, paid cash for insurance for $1,200 with check number 2. So this is what the journal entry is going to look like, following that same principle of debits and credits. We have the account called prepaid insurance, so that is an asset. It increases as a debit, and since we paid cash, that is a credit to cash. So here's the steps again. I won't go through step by step because I think we have the idea of where to place the amounts in each column. But this PowerPoint is in Google Classroom, so you can refer to that later on at your leisure. Bought supplies on account is the next one. So this is something on August 7th. We bought something from Supply Depot for $500, but we're not going to pay them till later. And it's memorandum number 1. So here's what that journal entry looks like. We debit supplies for the $500 because we're getting the supplies now, but we're also going to have a bill. So accounts payable, Supply Depot is credited for $500, and the document is M1 to stand for memorandum number 1. You scroll through on the PowerPoint, you can see the steps to go through that transaction. And the final one, paid cash on that account. So on August 11th, we got a bill from Supply Depot, and we paid them $300 in cash for check number 3. So here's our journal entry to document this transaction. The date, accounts payable, is our debit. So this time we are paying that bill, so we started with a credit of the amount we owed, and now we have a debit to show we paid it. And we have a credit to cash since cash is decreasing, and it decreases on the credit side for all assets. Once again, here's the steps for that transaction. And these are the same steps. So here are those instructions for the 3-2 Work Together problem in APLIA. You'll notice it's the same accounts we did for 3-1. Our assets are all listed here on the left. We have our accounts payable, our capital and drawing account, sales, and the same 3 expenses. And we're just continuing with the month of March or April for these 3 transactions. So the first one, bought supplies on account from Palm Supply for $500, memorandum number 1. So here's that transaction journalized on April 5th. We debited supplies because we bought the supplies for $500. And we credited accounts payable Palm Supply for $500 to show that we now have a bill that we owe somebody, or a debt that we owe somebody for $500. Our next transaction, the memorandum number 1, M1, we also put in the document number to show that memorandum. April 7th, we paid cash for insurance for $300, and we wrote check number 2. So here is the example of the April 7th transaction. Prepaid insurance and cash are both assets, so increasing our insurance is shown by prepaid insurance as a debit for $300, and we paid cash out for $300. That asset has to decrease, so it's decreased as a credit. And check number 2 is our document number, so we write that in the document number column. Our last transaction for this problem is April 9th, paid cash on account to Palm Supply for $250. So up here it shows that we have a debt for $500, and now we are going to pay them half of that debt, $250. So here's this transaction journalized for April 9th. Accounts payable has to be debited. If that makes sense to you, I hope. Up here we showed that we owed the bill, so it was credited for $500. Now to show that we paid it, we have to debit it by the amount that we paid, so that was $250. Cash has to be credited to show the decrease in our cash for $250, and our document number was C3 or check number 3. So again, these transactions are very repetitive. We just have to really remember the debits and credits and the normal balance side and where it increases and decreases. So finish this problem of Work Together 3-2 and then go on to the On Your Own problem.